So let me guess, you spend hours trying to make your emails look really pretty, but only for them to fail, right? Whenever you hit the send, you don't make as much money as you thought they would, right? And then you see screenshots from all these other Klaviyo marketers and all these other brands where they're making $50,000-$60,000 per email, right? And obviously they can have bigger lists than you and all of that stuff, but a lot of companies who are even having the same amount of list as you, they still end up making more money than you, right? And trust me, I've been there, right? There has been a time where we were sending emails for our clients and we were not making as much money as we make for them now, and the difference is astronomical. And in this video, that is why I want to show you how I design emails in Figma that can work, right? I'm going to show you a live example of an email that we make from scratch right in front of you. And on top of that, I'm also going to show you an email that made $43,000 in one single send. And the only difference was the structure of the email, which means the design, right? Now, obviously, you want to have conversion elements in your emails. And then on top of that, you also need to make it look really nice, right? You need to have a perfect blend of both, where you make a lot of money, but you also make good looking emails. And the reason why you want to make good looking emails as well is because it goes beyond revenue, right? You need to establish a brand voice and all of that kind of stuff. You know a lot better about that than me because you're a brand owner yourself, right? So in this video, we're only going to focus on making really good amount of money with emails, but also making them look aesthetic. That's the point of this video. So let's get into this real quick. Now on the screen, as you can see, there are two emails. The first email made $43,000. The second one made $34,000. And we sent this email for one of our clients. And both of these emails had same offers. They had very similar copy and messaging. The only difference was that they had completely different design structures. And you can take a look at the difference. Now, don't look at the revenue because your design structure or your design is directly going to affect the click rate, right? And obviously that click rate can affect your revenue. But for the most part, if you really want to focus on seeing your design results, you want to focus on the click rate. So you can see the difference between click rate. The first one has 6.1%. The second one has 9.7% almost. And this is the difference. This is why they made more money with the second email, because more people were clicking on it. Same amount of people were opening the email, but more people were now clicking on it. So like more people are going to buy. Just super simple. And the email design made about $10,000 worth of difference, right? So 34 minus 43 or 43 minus 34, you get $10,000. So I had to break down this video in three simple pillars. Now, first of all, I want to show you three reasons why your email designs fail. Now, trust me, I've been sending emails for 7-8-figure companies. My team has worked with 9-figure companies as well. I have personally worked with 9-figure companies myself, and I'm telling you this is what it all comes down to when it comes to design. Obviously, visual hierarchy, white space, all of that stuff matters. But for email marketing specifically, these are the three main things, main culprits, or main mistakes you're making right now that are costing you money. So the first one is your hero section does not hook people in. This is the most important part of the whole email. If your hero section is perfect, you can even skip the body section and send that email and it'll still make money. So what you want to make sure is that your hero section does hook people in. So if you notice right here, this is a company called Hammer Nutrition. They make a lot of money, but look at their emails, right? This is how it looks like. Versus there's another company called MindRed, and this is an email we made for them, and you can just see the difference between the hero section. Now, obviously, when it comes to hero section, you will have to focus on copy and you have to focus on the design as well. Mainly, you want to focus on copy, but design is going to play a very important role in supporting that copy. So if you notice right here, there's no call to action up here. The whole hero section doesn't even have any image that, catches people's attention. Versus this right here catches people's attention, right? Because this was also a GIF. So if you also add a GIF in your hero section, that's going to catch people's attention. And this is the most important part of the email. Again, nail this down and you're going to make a lot of money, right? One more thing that's wrong with this hero section, by the way, is these three buttons right here. So you don't need to have any button like fuel, supplement, mic. Like you don't need that. The whole point of email is to make sure that you only have one conversion element. People only want to click on one button, and that button right here is the call to action, the main call to action that takes them back. Now, the second mistake you're making is that your design lacks a simple visual hierarchy. Now, this just means getting more clicks on your call to action. So let me explain. This right here is a guide, by the way, that we're releasing very soon. It's going to be free. So you can subscribe to my email list by clicking on the button below and we'll send this to you when it comes out. But anyways, this right here is an example of visual hierarchy, right? It is the arrangement of design elements based on their importance, which creates a clear path for the reader's eye to follow. So if you just take a look at this image right here, you're going to read this first because this is big, bold, and there's a contrasting color right here. And then the second one has a contrasting color as well. So you're going to read this. This right here is very hard to read, the small text right here. So you're probably going to read this first, and then you'll read this, and then you're going to read the one up there. Now this is visual hierarchy. You want to apply this to your emails as well. So if you notice right here, right, there are three basic hacks for making sure you have perfect visual hierarchy. If you look at this email right here, there's attention grabber, anticipation builder, and call to action. So it's a reverse triangle, and everything is taking you back to the call to action, right? So if you go here, attention grabber, anticipation builder, call to action button. So if you just take a look at this email right here, the mixed and matched is a big headline, so it's the attention grabber. Then below that we have subheadline, but it's smaller. And then below that we have call to action that's big and that has a contrasting color. So again, everything is taking you back to the call to action. That's what you want to do with your hero image as well. And a easy way of doing that is you want to add 30 pixels of padding around your call to action, so it's going to separate it from all the other content. So 30 from the top, 30 from the bottom, and 30 from the left, 30 from the right. Now, obviously, you want to do more from the left and right depending upon your design and how it looks like, but this is a general rule of thumb. You also want to reduce the visual weight of secondary elements by decreasing their size by 15% and reducing color saturation. So the color saturation difference between the subheadline, headline, and the call to action is huge, and that is why all the I goes back to the call to action. Again, that's what you want to do, and you'll see the difference, by the way. If you run an A/B test with this, you'll see the difference. And the third thing you want to do is you want to arrange elements around your call to action. So you create an implicit triangle pointing to your call to action button, which right here, as you can see on the image, right? Now, if I give you an example from Brightland, and if you need this email, by the way, you can comment down below, or you can go to our description and there's an editable template for this email that you can use for yourself. But if you notice right here, the big call to action is up here, then the subheadline, you read that later, right? First of all, you read the headline because it's big, then you probably see the call to action, and then you read this because this is hard to read. And this is done on purpose because you want to make sure that you maximize the amount of attention you can bring to your headline and call to action, and all the other stuff, it comes later. Now again, if you also use the triangle rule here as well, you'll see the difference it makes. Visual hierarchy is very important. It's going to increase your clicks. You need to start doing that. Now the third mistake you're making, and this is a very big one, is that your emails are not mobile optimized. Most people are going to be opening up your emails on their phones, and if they look like this, well, you're not making any money. And this is not a small brand, right? These people do a lot of money as well. But again, they're making the same mistake. And this is what I see over and over again, right? Brands who are doing a lot of money as well, they still keep on making these mistakes. Don't make this mistake. You want to make sure that your emails are optimized for mobile first and then for desktop. Because again, most of your traffic is probably going to be from mobile. Like that's what we've seen across almost every single industry at this point. Now, these are the three main mistakes that I see almost every single brand makes. So now let me show you how to design emails in Figma and fix these mistakes so you make more money with your email. Before I go right there, right, again, there are three main sections of an email. The first one is hero section. This right here, you can see, this is a clear hero section. Then there's a body section where you provide more information about the email or you promote different products. You can do a lot of stuff in the body section. And then there's a footer section. So these are three main sections of your emails. Every single email has these three sections. You can argue that for some emails, you can remove the body section and only keep hero and it'll still work. But for the most part, for 99% of the cases, you need to have these three sections in your emails. And I'm going to show you how to design these right now. All right, so now we're in Figma and we're about to make an email for Nami Matcha, which is again a matcha brand by Ashley, and she is an influencer. She started her matcha brand recently and they did like some crazy numbers. I think 100K in 30 minutes or something like that when they launched. And we're going to be making an email for them real quick. So this right here is the brand and they have a very aesthetic Instagram. Now I could not open their website for some reason. I think it's down right now. So we wrote some copy really quickly for them with Claude. This is not a copywriting video, by the way, so this is just a quick one. And we gathered all the assets we need, so their images and everything, and we're going to be making an email for them real quick. So let's go really quickly. Now their design tone is very minimal, just by the way. So we're going to go ahead and create a very minimal email for them as well. And by the way, I'm not a designer. My skills are not as good as my team skills, but you basically want to go ahead, create a frame. You want to keep this 600. The height can be anything, right? Because you can always keep on changing that. And I'm just going to go ahead and make it a little bit grayish, just like that. Cool. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and take a hero image, right? Which is again the hook. And this right here is a very good image I found. So if I go here, so we take a screenshot of this, we're going to import that in Figma. So to make sure this fits, we're going to go here and we're going to be masking this. So use as mask like that, right? So now it's going to fit inside. Okay, so now we have the image. We are going to go ahead and add some text and we're going to be using this font, which is called GFS Diode, I think that's what it's called. But so I'm going to click T for text and we're going to write welcome to. We're just going to copy this basically. This is how it looks and this does not look nice at all right now. So we're going to be changing, I think, welcome to a different font, which is their body one. So we're going to go back. I will click on the text. I will remove welcome to, and we're going to change this enter. Make this a little bit smaller, I think. kind of like this. I don't want to change this because I don't want it to be the same font because it just does not look nice. So kind of like this, I think. I want to bring this down just a little bit like this and this right here. So welcome to the matcha mob. And I want to add a full stop in here as well. Yeah, I think it'll look a lot nicer. One last thing I would want to do is I think I would want to reduce the spacing. So, all right, so this looks a lot better than before, I think. And now we need to add a call to action, obviously. So I will create a button like this. And the call to actions on their website are pretty similar to the one that I'm making right now. So it's perfect. I'm gonna do shop now and we'll make this enter because that art doesn't go that well. I'm gonna make this smaller, obviously. So let's just go and take this to 34 for now. And I would wanna bold this. Yeah, I'll keep it in center. We'll change the color of this to, I think white. Yeah, I think white and then black text. I think that'll look good. And plus that is how it's on their website as well. Okay, so this does not look good right now. We need to change a few things. So for that, we'll go ahead and first of all, I'm gonna add some stroke. Okay, so I reduced the radius of this so it looks a little bit more circular. One thing I think we need to do is we need to go back here to the hero image and I think we need to select all of this image. Now, the reason why I was not selecting the full image right here is because there's also these tabs right below here. And I don't use Figma, by the way. I only use Photoshop. My team uses Figma for our clients. I'm not proficient enough to remove these, but we'll just go with this as an example. And the reason why we're going with like a longer image is so we have more space and more padding below. And I'll show you why in a bit. So if I bring this a little bit down, yeah, I think this looks a lot better. I know it's a small difference with the padding, but I just think it looks a lot better. The only thing I would do is I would make this a little bit more smaller. And I'll bring this in the center. A lot better now. So now we're gonna go ahead and create the body section. So the body section has a headline that says, "Hi, I'm Ashley." So let's go ahead and create that real quick. So I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna create a frame like this, and we need to mask this obviously. So again, this just fits perfectly, just like this. Now the first thing we wanna do here is we wanna go back to the colors and we wanna change it. So we're gonna go ahead with this, I think. We're gonna go with this color code. Let me just bring this here, cool. And the color code is, well, go fill. Yeah, kind of like that. Now the text needs to say, "Hi, I'm Ashley." Copy and paste this. "I'm Ashley," and I will make this in like a one line, kind of like this. Let's center this. Let's go back here, get the color from this because I think it's gonna look better because white on this is not gonna go as well at all. It does not look bad. This does not look bad either. Now I would go with this one right here, the one that we were using, and I'll make this smaller. So this is 64 right now. But let's edit this text just a little bit so it looks a lot nicer. Yeah, I think this goes a lot better. And now I think this will be a good position to, introduce the founder. So for that, we're gonna use one of Ashley's images and we're gonna put that in a circle, I think. All right, so this is a really good picture of Ashley that I found from her Instagram. So let's just go ahead and take this. These are not HD. It's not gonna look as well because we don't have their specific assets. Let's add this, increase the image size, take this up here and we're gonna be masking these. So we're gonna go right click, we're gonna select both of them and there will be use as mask like this. Make sure she's in the middle. Okay, so this looks nice. Let's just go ahead and take it right here. All right, so this looks nice. Now let's go ahead and add some text. So we're gonna go line by line. Let's go ahead and paste it. Yeah, kind of like this. We're gonna increase the size of the text, obviously, but we have to wireframe it properly so it looks nice. I wanna make this a little bit smaller, kind of like this, and make it bigger. Yeah. Now let's just take this in the center. Don't worry, we're gonna change it. So let me just go ahead and change the font from this to Enter, which is their body font. So we also want to make sure we have enough white space on the right and left, so it's easier to read the text. And then we have this part. Now there are two things we can do here. We can go ahead and add this text here as well. I don't think it's going to look nice, as you can see. So rather than this, we're going to go ahead and we're going to create a small rectangle and see how it does. So we're going to go ahead and do this. Increase the corner radius. I would want to make it a little bit narrow, but taller. All right, so I made two differences really quickly. I didn't want to make this video too long, so I did not show it because it took me a little bit while to figure this out because again, I'm not a designer. But this right here, the background, I changed the color to the original one that we were going with first because the white does not blend in with this one and it just becomes like very transparent. And I made this text a little bit bigger because, you know, it's like easier to read. And we're gonna increase the length of our email. So for that, I have to go and, you know, make this longer like this. So this is also longer. So one more thing I want to do is I want to change this text because the color of this text because I don't think it looks as nice. I think a little bit grayish would look nice. So let's go ahead and find one. Okay, I think this looks better than black. We might go back to this and change this again. But for now, let's just go ahead and add the text. Now I'm going to go here. We're going to go Control C, Control V. We're going to bring this to front, obviously. So read this and maybe I will make this a little bit like this. Yep, let's bring this up here to 21. I think 20 is nice. Started Nami because let's go ahead, change this. Let's go back here. You're officially part of the matcha mob now. Let's go back here. All right, so this is how it looks. I think it looks really nice right now. So let's just go ahead here. And one thing I would want to do, I think, is I would want to change the color a little bit again because I don't know, the color here is not looking as nice. What if we go take this here and then we create another rectangle. So like have another background basically. So let's just go ahead, take it right here. Obviously, we'll need to send this to back. We need to go ahead and mask this real quick again so it fits in the frame. So I'll just take this here and boom, I'm pretty sure it's masked. Yes, it is. And we want to change the color of this. So we're going to change it to this, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so let's just go here, rectangle 5. Change the color to this. And you see the edge right here, it's sticking out, so we need to fix that real quick, like that. So I think this looks a little bit better to have two different contrasting colors. One more thing I would want to do to make it a little bit more well-designed is add a circle here, yep, like this. And let's just make it black, I think, and change the opacity. And now let's just change the color and see, maybe in a greener shade. And let's change the opacity a little bit. So I don't know, I think it looks a little bit more nicer to have a background like this and the white blends in well with this color. So I think this is gonna look a little bit more nicer. Now we need to go back to our copy and the third headline is promoting their product, which is Nami Game First Harvest Matcha. So let's go ahead and copy this headline, bring this all the way here and paste this. One sec, so. Yep, let's keep this here. First Harvest Matcha. I would want to make this a little bit bigger, I think. And this too. So it looks like an actual headline, basically, that's the point. What if we can just increase this like to here and to here? Make it a little bit here and then change the height to like 55, I think. Yep, I think that's more like it. Because we need to make sure that the headline actually looks like a headline, right? And make this 50 or 52, a little bit smaller. Yeah, something like this. I think this looks a little bit more nicer. We'll come back to this to fix this if it does not look well after we add the product section. So now we need to go ahead and add the product right here. So this is the product, as you can see. So let's just go ahead and bring this to front. Make it a little bit smaller by holding shift. Let's see if we can make it more smaller for now. We'll change it later. Okay, so now we need to create a product section. So for that, I'm gonna go with a rectangle again. Again, I'm just using all of my brain right now. I'm not a designer, but this is fun. 150. Let's go take this, send to back. No, let's not send it to back. We need to mask the image on it. So take it here. Let's mask both of these. Yep, and we need to make it smaller, obviously. Here, okay, so I think this looks a lot better right now. What if we just take this, make it a little bit in the center and below the headline, so there's some padding. because padding matters a lot. Okay, so right here, we need to add nutty, smooth, subtly sweet, and savory. We need to add these three features of this product, or the taste profile basically. So the best way to do it, now obviously you can just go ahead to mail.com or really good emails, and you can see how other people are doing it, and you can basically use them as inspiration. I already have one thing in mind that we can do. If there was somebody who was even better designer, right? Or if you're watching this and if you're an even better designer, you can probably come up with something even better than this. But I think this will look nice. So if I just go ahead, make this white, go to stroke, keep the weight like 5 or 2. What if 1? Yeah, 1 looks nice. I add it here. And then let's use another one. Let's add that here. Let's use another one smaller. Let's make one of this a little bit bigger. This one, let's just take this here. And let's go ahead and put these in as well. So I would want to go with inter font. So let's go text. We need to make this black, obviously. So we're gonna go nutty. We're gonna make it a little bit bigger, like 30, something like that. Yeah. Let's bring this to front. Take this here as well. So nutty, smooth, subtly savory, subtly sweet and savory. My bad. Sweet and savory. So make this smaller, obviously, so it fits. And we need to use smooth up here as well. Make this a little bit smaller so it's in more proportions, I think. Actually 29. So something like this. And let's actually just see if we can make this a little bit. If we can take it to the right a little bit so there's more padding again. So the whole point here is that we need to make sure that it's easier to read, right? The text is easier to read. That's the whole point of doing it this way. So far, I think this email is looking nice. I think we just need to add one last call to action, and then we're good to go. So for that, we'll just go to the original call to action. And the reason we're using a call to action like this, by the way, guys, is because they're using something like this on their website. I cannot access their website right now for some reason, but if I'll see if I can, I'll show it to you. But they're using it. They're using a call to action like this, so we're just going to keep it consistent to their website. In most cases, we go ahead and we copy the call to actions from their websites and then we use them in the emails because we need to keep them consistent. I think it looks nice. I think it looks clean. I think obviously if there's somebody who's a designer, who's a professional designer, like somebody from our team or someone, they can make this look so much more nicer, and they can do a lot of GIFs and animations and all that stuff, and even make the whole thing blend properly. But I think from what I've done here, I think this is not bad. You guys could be the judge of that, but I think this looks pretty decent. All right, so just a few things. We forgot adding their logo, so I just added that really quickly right here. And then free shipping on orders over $50. So this is not correct, by the way. This is just as an example here. So any of your important information, you can always add that on the top header. And one more thing I want to mention is that I haven't removed these two right here. And the reason for that is I use Photoshop myself. I'm not a Figma expert. My team is a Figma expert. I'm not. So I just couldn't find like a proper good way of removing this. So I just kept it here, but you want to remove this, right? If you're working with a designer, or if you're a designer watching this, or if you're working with a professional agency or a team, like obviously they need to remove this because it's going to look a lot more cleaner. And you also want to make sure that all of the assets you're using are HD, preferably if they're even better than that, that'll perform, not perform, but that's just going to look better. But anyways, this is the full email.